Hi, this is a video particularly for beginners with aerial yoga. So there are many different ways to invert or go upside down in the aerial yoga hammock. Hi, Kylie. Different wraps, different ways we can get into it. So I'm just going to go over some of the basic inversions that we do. And remember, all inversions decompress the spine and open up space in the body. My next video is going to be more about proper placement of the hammock. This video is specifically for the different types of inversions that we can do. So the first way to invert, or the first wrap to invert that I'm going to show you is probably the one I use most when I'm teaching a beginner class because it's easily accessible and it's more comfortable than some of the other ones. So for this, it's called a folded hammock wrap, pouch wrap. So what you want to do is you want to find the very edge of your hammock. So think of your hammock as a sheet, and it's got an end on each side. You want to make sure you have the very end of the fabric. So you're going to hold that edge of the fabric between your fingers, and you're going to step to the side of your hammock. You're going to grab the edge on the other side. So make sure you have the actual edges because we want to fold the hammock in half, and we need to have the edges in order to do that. So you're going to pull the hammock apart, the edge in front in one hand, the edge in back in the other hand, and you always want to make sure that the two edges, when you bring them together, are at your back. So if you're going to be facing this way, you want these two edges this way. So what I'm going to do is take those two edges, I'm going to bring them together in between the 2 points where the hammock is hanging. And I'm going to place the edge in front on top of the edge in back in my other hand. Once I got those two edges together, I'm going to place them to wherever my back is going to be facing. So my back is going to be facing this way where we have some windows. So I'm going to place those two edges behind me here. Now, in the front, there's your fold. So I'm going to place my thumb in the fold, and I'm going to come around to the front. So now my hammock is folded in half. I've got one thumb in, and I'm going to bring the other thumb in. I'm going to press down with my thumbs, and I'm going to slide my thumbs wider than my waist and take one handful. So one handful is just going to give you a good grip of the fabric, and then I'm going to step back to my plumb line, which is the spot directly under where your hammock is attached. From here, I'm going to use the heels of my hands, bend my elbows, and make sure my elbows are inside. Then I'm going to press down, press my shoulders down, rise up to the balls of my feet, keep pressing down so the shoulders are away from the ears. I'm on my tiptoes, or the balls of my feet, and I'm going to lift a knee. This is going to help you scoot into your hammock. So the leg that's lifted is the side you're going to try to get in first, and then the other side will follow. Once you get your butt inside, you're going to pull that hammock to the back of the knees, lift the arms up, and bring them around the back. You're safe here. So now for the inversion, this is our folded hammock inversion. You always want to start with your hands up high. I'm going to press my hands against the back of the hammock, just the back edge. Think of like high-fiving the back of your hammock. My thumb is on the inside, all other four fingers are on the outside. So you want to make sure you feel the tension of the hammock in between your thumb and your pointer finger on both sides. So I'm going to high-five the back of my hammock, thumbs are inside, fingers are on the outside, and I'm going to slide those thumbs down. From here, as my hands come down towards my waist, I'm not just using my thumbs. I'm actually going to turn the inside of my wrists forward so that I'm using the heels of my hands. And I'm going to use that to help me push the fabric down to my sacrum. From the sacrum, to hold the fabric there so it doesn't move, because we want it on the sacrum, not on the lower back. I'm going to roll my shoulders back and down. I'm going to press down with my shoulders. I'm going to squeeze my elbows together, and I'm going to really push down with the heels of my hands to hold that fabric. Now for the inversion part, I'm going to take a breath in. As I exhale, I'm going to engage my abdominal muscles and start to round my spine. My toes are dropping down towards the ground. My knees are still bent. Once I get low enough, my weight of my body is going to hold the fabric here so it doesn't slide up. So then I can slide my hands up. So then here you'll see like a triangle shape. We call that the triangle of ease. That's where you want to be. I'll extend my legs forward, and I find that it's helpful to externally rotate your legs. So that means from the hip, not the knee. I'm going to press down with both legs, and I'm going to turn my toes out, heels together. It's easier to straddle wide from this position because your hips are in the proper location. I'm going to press down. I'm going to start to straddle my legs as wide as I can, keeping even tension on both sides till my legs come out into a straddle. From here, I can slide my hands down a bit,
bend my knees, and you always want to bring the feet to the same side as your face. You want to feel the hammock behind the ankles. Then once I'm here, I can keep my soles of my feet together. I'm going to trust, I'm going to release my hands, and I'm not going to push on the floor. I'm just going to let the back of my hands rest on the floor, fingers as far away from the body as possible. You can, so I'll show you. My feet are together. If you're a little fearful or not quite trusting the hammock, you can always hook your toes behind. It just gives you a little more security mentally. And I would suggest starting this way first until you're really comfortable and you know how to wrap yourself. And then we can just hang here, letting the spine decompress. This is a folded hammock inversion. Coming up from an inversion, you always want to think of your chin as a safety button. You bring your chin to your chest. That's safety button. Then I'm going to look up towards the direction of where my feet is or where the ceiling is. And I'm going to always look in the direction I'm going. I want to go up. So I'm going to look up, reach my hands up, and I'm going to grab the fabric. Once I've got a good grip with both hands, I'm going to unhook my toes if they're hooked. I'm going to straddle my legs wide, and I'm going to come up very slowly, bringing my legs around, back to a lever, straight forward, and then from here, slide my hands up till my arms are straight and my eyes are either level with my knees or can see just over my knees. You want to stop here. If you're in an inversion, all the blood's rushing to your head. The quicker you get up, the more likely you are to get dizzy or nauseous. So it's a good idea to stop here. You can grab all the way around the hammock if it feels more comfortable, but your arms should be straight. You shouldn't be like this. That's doing too much work. This is a resting pose. Think of it like a child's pose. So hands are up high, knees are to chest. You can wiggle your feet, let the blood go back to your feet. And then when you feel ready, you can sit all the way up here. So the next inversion I'm going to go over is an open hammock inversion. So that means that my hammock fabric is all the way open. It's not folded. And a good way to check that is to grab the edge in front, make sure you have the actual edge and not anywhere else on the fabric. Just grab it in your fingers and shake it side to side, just making sure that it's all the way open and the hammock is not folded. You'd be surprised it can be folded and you may not know. So this is a good way to check and make sure. Once you've checked, you're going to turn around to the front of the room and you're going to place one of your thumbs inside. So notice my fingers are out, just my thumb is in. I'm going to bring my other thumb in. I'm going to press down with my thumbs, and notice I'm not right under the plumb line right now. I'm a step forward. It's easier to grab the handfuls correctly that way. So I step forward away from my plumb line, I press my thumbs down, I slide my hands wider than my body, and then I'm going to reach my fingers back, and I'm going to take gathers, or handfuls, or scrunches, whatever makes sense to you. I'm going to do that 6 or 7 times. Once I did 7. So once I've got my 7, I'm going to step back to my plumb line. I'm going to bring my elbows in so that they're inside the fabric. I'm going to press down with the heels of my hands. I'm going to press my shoulders down. I'm going to rise up to the balls of my feet, get that hammock as low as I can go, and I'm going to lift a knee and scoop my butt back in. So the reason for 6 or 7 handfuls, it depends on the width of your hammock, but most likely it's 6 or 7. That's going to put you in the center of the hammock. So once we get the hammock, we sit into the hammock, we bring it to the back of our knees, we bring our arms up and over. This is always a safety here. Keep your hands behind. And then we're going to go into that open hammock inversion. Like always, hands come up high, you high five the back of the hammock, your thumbs are on the inside, your fingers are on the outside, and I'm going to press into the hammock so I feel that tension between my thumb and index finger, and I'm going to slide the hands down. As they come down towards my waist, I'm going to turn the inside of my wrists forward, use the heels of my hands to press down to create that back belt line, which is at the sacrum. Rolling the shoulders back, pressing down with the shoulders, squeezing the elbows together, and really pushing down through the heels of my hands is going to help me hold that fabric until my weight of my body will hold it. From here, breathing in. On the exhale, I'm going to engage my abdominal muscles and start to round my spine. Coming as low as I can go where I feel the weight of my body holding that edge so that I can slide my hands up. Once again, we have a little triangle here. That's where you know that you're set safely. And then for this part, really important to pay attention here, I'm going to take the heel of one of my feet and I'm going to use it to push the fabric all the way down so that my entire leg is covered. But here's where it's important. You want your heels out. You just use your heel to push the fabric to the ankle. Once you get the fabric to the ankles, take your heels out. You do not want your heels inside. From here, I'm going to press down with both legs. I'm going to externally rotate and continually pressing down. I'm going to straddle the legs, keeping the tension in the hammock, creating a wide circle, leg lock, locking my feet on the face side. Make sure your feet are on the same side as your face. They are not on this side. You want to come all the way around the hammock, bring the feet together, and then in this inversion, you do want to hook your toes. We call it a monkey wrap, or you can say flexing your feet behind the hammock, whatever makes sense to you. And then once my feet are hooked, I can slide my hands down, I can release, and I can bring the back of my hands to the floor, always never pressing into the floor. You need the weight of your body to hold you in. Pushing into the floor can actually make you fall out, believe it or not. So back of the hands are on the floor, fingers are wide, I'm relaxing, I'm letting my spine decompress, I'm letting my knees fall open as wide as I can. And here's another important tip. A lot of people arch their back like this. You don't want to do that. You want to keep a nice neutral spine. So if you just slightly tuck your pelvis, slightly engage your core, you're in a more neutral spine. And you'll benefit much more from the inversion. Coming up from this inversion, chin to chest, look in the direction that you want to go, reach the hands up, grab the fabric. See if I can show you where my hands are grabbing. I'm not grabbing this loose part. I'm grabbing right here. Once I've got a hold with both hands, I can unhook my toes. You're going to straddle wide, so it's a wide circle, unlocking the legs from the hammock, coming into that lever. And because the hammock is open and it's not folded, we can come to a child's pose for rest. If the hammock were folded or we were in a single belt, we would bring the knees to the chest here. But in this position, the hammock is all the way open. All you have to do is bend your knees, pull yourself up, and then for your rest here, letting the blood go back to your feet, hands always stay behind you. Fold forward. Make sure that hammock is to the back of the knees. If it's to the back of the knees and your hands are behind, then the edges in front will catch you. If it's not, all the way to my knees, and I come forward, I can fall out the front. So if the hammock is to the back of the knees, it'll catch your shoulders. You can drop your head. You can just relax and give yourself a moment to make sure that you're not dizzy before coming all the way up.